So I know the two of you talk sometimes about the sandwich generation. Would you explain what that is to people and how you navigate that, those empty nesters?
So, the sandwich generation, which is a term that we had come across sometime when we were doing an episode, basically, you're stuck in between still parenting your adult children to some degree, and now you may be moving into that role of having to take care of your own parents. We have gone through a lot with Rick's mom, and it filled a lot of our time after we became empty
You
nesters.
almost could say that I don't want to use the word risk. Well, I will, because risks have different spectrums. It puts a risk at the thriving of the empty nest with the sandwich generation element that we had to experience. So we had adult kids. My dad passed away in 2003. And so it was my mom. She had remarried at the time. She passed away a couple of years ago after a multi-year decline with
Mm,
Alzheimer's.
Wow.
It's a
Yeah.
very difficult, and
yeah.
I never want to say the things like, "Oh, it's one of the worst," because people that experience other things with their parents, it was just a very difficult
Yeah.
thing for us to
Right.
experience, and to watch her go through that decline. Now, thankfully, she had remarried, was remarried to a wonderful man who was her primary caregiver at the time.
Mm.
However, even though my mom was down in Austin, which is 3 hours away, so I couldn't do the day-to-day caregiving elements of this, as a way to help support Jerry, her husband, there were a lot of the financial or other responsibilities that I would take on because I could do those remotely. My sister was there in Austin, able to do a lot of the day-to-day caregiving, all while trying to enjoy, celebrate, coach, mentor the kids that we had, the one that we had in college, one that was in later stages of high school, and then when my mom did pass, my daughter actually was a freshman at university. And there were times that Clancy and I looked at each other and said, all we have talked about
Mm.
is either the caregiving or then after my mom passed, the estate and dealing with the
Mhm.
estate and all of that. And having to be first aware of that, and then secondarily choosing to carve out the moments where that made sense to be focused on, and the times that it made sense to completely discard that for your mind so that we could focus on us or focus on anything for that
Yeah,
matter.
because it infiltrated every aspect of our life, even though we weren't physically there, it really did, and I mean, and even to the point that, she passed during the week of our son's college graduation, so we're, like, out celebrating, and, hi we told Tanner, "Your Mia would not want us to do anything differently than we are doing." She was very much a fun, loving, supportive person, and she would not have wanted us to just drop everything and head to Austin. So, but like Rick said, even after that, we're still dealing with some things, and it's been 2 years now.
And so as a parent, you wanna be thinking about your adult kids and that sort of stuff, and then any energy that's directed at the generation above is energy that you weren't anticipating. And so that's where the sandwich can really squeeze
Mhm.
the empty nest couple. And, thankfully, Clancy's parents are both living and they're both in great health. They're experience life to a great degree, and even then, there are things that we have to think of and get in their head a little
Mm.
bit, as we've seen perhaps my mom could have done a better job of thinning some of the objects and some of the photos and that sort of aspect that now we are still dealing with. So,
Yeah.
elements of that with Clancy's parents as well, having to try to coach and mentor upward is not a natural feeling. And so those of us in that sandwich get a little
And
stuck.
that generation does not like to talk about any of that stuff. And so
We
it
noticed.
is
Yes.
It
with
like
yes, with my parents, we have to schedule, okay, we are going to sit down and talk about, especially after now we've gone through it with your dad, which we were much younger when that happened, and then with your mom, we know the things that need to be planned out before certain things happen, and trying to get them to realize that and open up and start talking about that, it is hard.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when people hear the term sandwich generation, they think about the caregiving aspect, like some a parent who is sickly or has Alzheimer or is just physically declining or what that might look like. There's just so many other elements. Not only the estate after the fact, what's it like when your parents start dating?
Oh,
right?
wow.
Watching
Yeah.
my mom date and
Yes.
then remarry and
That's
those
weird,
elements.
man.
It was.
It is,
It
and at the same time that your kids are at the age and stage of life that they're making important relationship decisions. And so what is your role as the
Mhm.
coach and the mentor, as the one who we believe we have a very healthy and thriving marriage? What's our role in helping and
Mhm.
advising the different generations up and down? So there's a lot of categories of sandwich well beyond just the health
Healthcare,
caregiving.
yes.
I really like how you've formalized this into an
Mhm.
idea. The sandwich, right?
Certainly no credit, no branding on
Yeah.
our regard, but we have embraced that
Yeah.
concept in a
Mhm.
strong
Well,
way.
you were
Yes.
intentional about it, and I wasn't, but now I am.